No, honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense.
They say many garbage things.
You don't know what you're going to get.
Melodrama upon melodrama! This is a total, utter, shameful, disgraceful piece of nonsense!
Because he was miles off it yesterday.
You'll learn a lot more if you listen rather than talk all the time.
No problem.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a No Nonsense podcast. Back again, Premier League, weekend Premier League this time, not midweek Premier League. We have Champions League coming up actually this week, but you got to be an ultra to get on that. So, link in the description episode if you want to get some of the Champions League later on this week. But for now, we're talking Premier League. We're talking the big fixtures. Will, what were the big fixtures? Liverpool and Arsenal playing, I guess, the two favourites for the Premier League.
Yeah, well, one definite the favourite for the Premier League, and then one it goes no chance. Oh, actually, that was a big win. Maybe they're back, and then it goes back to no chance.
I think we talked about before that, like, we're just used to City being so far ahead that, like, when a team is a mere 6 points ahead, it's like, Jesus, you know, I guess they have a one and they go down to 3 points. 3 points, that's only one game, it's one win. Oh my God, it's back on. Yeah, we've lost all kind of point of reference for what points are, you know, and how many points for a game. So, like, when you see someone like a couple of points ahead, like, that's it, I guess the league's over now for another year. And then they get one game, lose one game, drop one, draw one game. It's like, oh my God, it's back on. Yeah, we kind of wrote off the league. We said Liverpool had it won. And then Arsenal were suddenly within 4 points. And then just bloody Aston Villa, Will. I mean, are they a bogey team? Or are they just a team that's like probably as good as Arsenal on their day?
Well, I think they are a very good team. It is also the Emery factor as well. I think more, you know, sometimes you hear players coming back to haunt you and stuff. Managers definitely will go out of their way to haunt you when they play you because you have ruined their life, definitely. That was their job for a long time and you destroyed it. You took it away from them.
Of all managers who've been like mistreated by a club, and I think, you know, mistreated or disrespected, you might say. I mean, I think that's probably one fair uses in football where someone has actually been disrespected, where he left Arsenal and everyone thought, I just one of these fake European managers, you know?
Yeah, wins the Europa League. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, he doesn't actually know anything about ball, you know? He's just some kind of weird guy. And he can't pronounce words the way we pronounce them, you know? I think, and I'm not a body language coach or body language expert, well, there's a few out there, not me. But when I see him at the Arsenal games, you can see in his eyes, he's like, fuck these fucking fucks. You know, he really wants to win those games because, you know, he was reminded of a really tough period in his life where he'd worked all his life to get to this point and then came into like a basket case of a club. And now when he's gone, they've like managed to get things together. It's like, well, that could be me if just, you know, but I get blamed for it somehow. Yeah.
Get me a few months, lads. I would have done the exact same thing probably.
Yeah. But I think Aston Villa are quite good, you know.
Yes. Would you say this ranks, I was going to say, would you say that how highly this ranks up as one of the worst days in Arsenal history for you as a fan? But I think like the dream of winning the title, like we said, was kind of lost, of like the way Liverpool are playing and stuff. But that 1-2 combo of the disallowed goal at the end of the game, plus the Darwin Nunez comeback at the end of their game, like both happening in the one day, it's like, oh my God, well, how the hell are we ever going to win this when these things are happening to us? Yeah,
the Darwin Nunez comeback was kind of like, that felt more written in the stars than the Arsenal comebacks for whatever reason. But yeah, I guess going 2-0 up at home, Aston Villa coming back, and then, 2 goals, you've been pulled back in, and then you get the winner. Again, I think if you're, it's the eye test. It's hard to kind of to quantify, but it felt like even if that goal had counted, which on one replay you could, even VAR could say, actually, no, that is pretty obvious handball.
It was going one direction, it hit his hand, and it went in another direction, spiraling into the net. That is as clear cut as it gets.
Like VAR may have, like, it's like, you know, you see the deflection, it's worth a look, you know, because, well, I see the deflection. I don't, like, in real time, you might have seen the hand, which I didn't. But, you know, one replay, it's like, that's the hand there. And you can see when they're coming back, I don't know if anybody got a good zoom in on it, but there's definitely meme potential there for Thomas Partey's face when Havertz is covering his
he knows
his face with his arm, and Havertz saying, "Yeah, I handballed that, mate," and he's like, "What? What you say?" He's like, "Yeah, I handballed." It's like, "What?" Like he knows. Kai Havertz knows, and Partey's only finding out because he obviously hasn't seen it. It's like, "Oh, so we're not back in the game?" No. We're just hoping that VAR does one of their classic fuck ups in our favour this time.
Shut up, Partey. Cover your mouth.
Yeah, sure enough, that wasn't to be. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess when you have the injuries that they have as well, maybe it's not as bad. It's not. I guess you can say they were missing Saliba before in other years, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I've just been kind of used to it now, so it's not as bad. It's the previous ones. It was like, oh my god, they could do it, and then it's taken away. It's like, oh, that hurts. You know,
Yeah,
you made me. You just sold me like a really good dummy. You know what I mean? I've just been like absolutely nutmegged by that title run. This one's like, no, I don't think so. And you go around me anyways. Go, yeah, well, I gave you the outside to go around me, so I don't care.
I was actually playing you onto that foot, mate. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, so you went by me? Fine, you're faster than me. I don't care. You know, that's how I'm coping this time. Yeah, I guess it's still bad, but I think the eye test will go. I was back to the eye test. I never really felt it was on.
yeah, no, same. And like I said, even in that game, that didn't feel like, even when they scored the goal before it was disallowed, I still had a sense of like, Aston Villa could get another one here. Like, this game's not over.
Yeah, no, I think there's a collective sense of dread at this time of the season as well when a team starts coming back. And if you're in any position of winning something, it's like, oh God, like, you know, if we lose this game, you know,
yeah. Every game is must win. Yeah. Which, if you think about it, it's like that it should be the way all season. Every game is must win for the whole season.
Nah, it's not though. It's not. It's just like, again, like Liverpool's been so good and they're only 6 points ahead.
You
know,
Man City are 6 points off fourth. No, 6 points off second. Sorry. Yeah.
The first few games don't really count. You know, in terms of points, it's not really the same thing for whatever reason. The last few games are huge. They're like, you know, those 3 points count way more.
Yeah, they should be worth 5. As the season progresses, the points should ramp up.
Well, that would make the first half season utterly pointless. Like those game shows where the last round, all answers are triple. So like just it nullifies the first few rounds. That was just for the advertisements to get in there. That's all that was, you know. Which I guess, you know, football is kind of like that as well. But yeah, no, they lost. Having seen, I'm assuming that they probably watched the Liverpool game first as a team, maybe. Watched Darwin Nunez. What a man Darwin Nunez is.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's crazy because the money they spent on him to get him in, it was like, this is going to be the starting striker guy, you know, to consistent goals. But he's actually like a super sub. They've spent a lot of money on a really good super sub, like accidentally.
Yeah, I guess it's all contextualized by if they win the league, they can point to this moment and go, well, I mean, that's worth the money, isn't it? Yeah. I don't know if it is. I mean, I'm not an accountant, you know. I don't know what the ROI on that is. But for the fans, surely they won't care if they win. And Darwin Nunez has scored a couple of goals. I mean, how many goals he got this season?
Oh,
at least 2.
Tell you, it feels like none apart from those.
Yeah, he doubled his tally there. Well, he's got 4 Premier League goals this season, which really, you know, it's whatever with the money,
pretty awful.
Whatever with the wages. It's just like if you're the striker up front, you know, that's your currency is goals. You need to be scoring goals. He's got 6 in total. He's got 1 in the Champions League and 6 appearances. Bear in mind, they're top of the Champions League, so they've been doing well in Champions League, and he hasn't really contributed a lot to that. And then 1 in the League Cup. So, sorry, and 4 assists. Can't.
Okay.
And God knows, pre-assists, if you could track that metric, I mean, all the run around he's been doing as well. I mean, that has to count for something at some stage.
But yeah, it's just crazy to see him, like, it's like a pendulum swing of, it feels like Liverpool fans are even like, this guy's not worth the money, he's shy. But then he scores these huge goals, like last minute winners. He's done it a few times now. And it swings to like, nearly like, oh my God, is this guy a club legend? Like, are we going to have a statue of Nunez in years to come for all these moments? Like they used to think of Origi.
Origi is a good show, actually. Yeah, I guess kind of like a cult hero rather than club legend.
Yeah.
I think I had this conversation with a couple of Arsenal fan pals of mine, Will.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was around the David De Gea thing. And we were like, come on, like in the versus like the likes of Paul Scholes or Dennis Law will R.I.P. You know, does he restack up? And then like, you know, who's the most recent Arsenal legend? Who could you put in that kind of category? There's no one, you know, like the fucking Giroud, but like he cost them the title that year, but just continuing missing chance after chance. Same with any of those boys, Ozil or Sanchez. So like, I mean, you know,
I feel like Arteta was after the FA Cup win, but he's slowly dwindling away. His statue is crumbling before our eyes.
Yeah, I don't think you can be a cult hero or a club legend as a manager. Well, no, obviously you can be a club legend, but I don't think cult hero. I just think there's been no like it's. Well, my point is that like you know you got to win. It's not easy to get the cult hero status. You know, I guess it's honestly it's probably the best litmus test of aura.
Yeah,
you know,
Oh yeah, because you could be a sub who comes on and scores goals and wins games, but you're just forgotten as the years go on. But if you do the exact same thing, but you just have something about you, people will be like, "Oh, he's like my favorite player ever."
Yeah, to be someone's favorite player, you can't be boring. You know, you got to have something about you.
Yeah.
So Darwin Nunez may not be a club legend ever at Liverpool, but I think he has the necessary tools to become a cult hero. Especially if they win, like okay, he scores 2 goals in injury time. He's been pretty underwhelming all season. If you're a Liverpool fan who knows this, are you going to be, hey, stop cheering. No. Don't forget, this is only his 4th goal all season. Don't cheer for him. Don't encourage this behavior.
Did you see his XG for the last 5 games?
This guy's been a disgrace. No, stop cheering. You know, like everyone's like, everyone's over the moon. You know, you can't just like it's the wrong time to bring it up. Like he's won you the game by his goals. So it's like, all right, happy for him today. And even if you don't think, oh, this is the start of him turning it around, if you think this might be the last time we see him score a goal for Liverpool, you can't kind of bemoan it at the time. You got to go, all right, fair enough. He did it today. I mean, today is his day.
And we've talked about, everyone talks about Captain Chaos, you know, the way he plays. Like we talk about the aura. It's just, he's so frantic. And like he scored 2 goals there. He stamped on Nathan Collins, probably should have been sent off. He took his shirt off for the first one. He was this close to taking off for the second. Like he could have had 2 red cards and 2 goals in the space of 4 minutes.
That's cult status stuff. That's that time. Like someone like Paolo Di Canio, I don't think he ever scored like 30 Premier League goals in a season. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, he just had that unquantifiable quality that made him cool. You know, Nazi salute, I'm pretty sure, was part of it. You know,
it's the bicycle kick,
the bicycle kick. You know, far right leanings, all that kind of stuff goes into cult hero status. So yeah, I don't know. Look, Liverpool are top. Maybe we're being a bit disrespectful to Nottingham Forest. Well, they're still doing pretty well. They won again. Chris Wood. I mean, he must be keeping up those Golden Boot standings now, is he?
He's got to be. And I saw an amazing stat during the week that, not to be all nerdy and XG-ish, but if he continues at the rate of putting away chances that he is at the moment, it's one of 2 things. Either A, he is just on the purple patch of all purple patches, he's in the form of his life, and obviously it'll taper off and he'll stop being able to put away all these chances so consistently. Or B, he is the best goal scorer since Lionel Messi in his prime. It's one of the 2, according to the stats.
Wow, just like the goals to shot ratio.
Yeah, just like the level of chance conversion is so off the charts for Chris Wood this season that he's either the greatest player of all time or this is like, it'll come tumbling down eventually, but enjoy it while it's going.
Yeah, I mean, when you see him play, like, it's not like, how's he doing it? You know, like he has it all, you know, he's big, he's strong, he's fast, he's a great finisher. You know, it's just, and now he's managed to do it consistently this season. And maybe part of it is you know, the supply you're getting from your teammates. I mean, he hasn't played with the greatest teams before this. You know, he's managed to find himself in this situation with loads of good players around him because Newcastle wanted to just get him off the books. Because then they signed him for huge money from Burnley, which got them relegated.
Nice.
I'm sure they paid him a lot of money to go there. And then they decided, this guy's 31, 32. Yeah, like get his 400 grand a week wages off the books if we can. You know, but it didn't mean he wasn't a good player. You know, maybe not worth that. I don't know if it's 400 grand now, but you know, I'm assuming it was a good base. Did want to have him and Isak on the on the books at the same time. I don't know, but it just gets kind of it's a strange situation, strange way that he's found himself in this situation with good players. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm delighted for him. I love seeing players like this have these kind of Indian summers, especially if it would like lead to something. You know, if they could win the league, I mean, that'd be great for Chris Wood. I mean, you know.
Yeah, now that is like legend stuff. If the Nottingham Forest win the league, Chris Wood would be an all-time great probably at the club. But it's like,
well, hang on,
what
they have
think.
won 2 European championships. To be fair to them.
Yeah, but not since I've been alive.
Did you see that clip actually of Shannon Sharp saying to some guy? He was like, "Hey, can you tell me the last time this happened in the NFL?" And then it's like on a Zoom call like this, there's a delay. Goes 992, your brother. I said, "Hey, no one remembers that. Don't mention that. Shut up about that. That was 30 years ago. You can't mention that." I was like, "Why did he bring it up?" He knew exactly what he's talking about. So I was like, just he decided to cut off history. No one can remember last time. Yeah, I do. It was 992. It was your brother.
Your family member did it.
Yeah, and you know that. Why would you bring it up?
I wonder how Nottingham Forest feel looking over their shoulder and seeing Man City scoring 5 goals in a game, 4 goals in a game. De Bruyne is assisting. Haaland has signed a 10-year deal. Feels like the vibes have shifted at City, and they could start sliding back up the table. Or not sliding up the table, but you go climbing up the table even.
Yeah. Marauding up the table. Marching up the table, Will.
Because everyone else is dropping points, except for, funnily enough, probably Nottingham Forest. But, I mean, City, they can't be that far away from making it all click again. Do you know what I mean? They didn't become a bad team overnight. They did with the eye test, but the players are still talented, do you know?
The players are still talented. Stuck in a rigid system, Will, with a dictatorish manager, maybe. I mean, that was the problem. You know, maybe they can click as long as the team haven't figured them out, but they can't change. You know, they're stuck in their ways. I don't know. Look, they won 6-0 against Ipswich. I wouldn't get carried away with it. Like it's like we say when we look at a relegation team. Like they're only 3 points from safety. It's like, you know, we've been watching City for the last few weeks. I mean, they play PSG now during the week, and then I think they play. Oh, I heard this: Newcastle or Chelsea, maybe.
I think it's all of the top 6 within the next few weeks, pretty much.
Like obviously, they're still good players. They still have ability. Now, maybe during this losing period, Pep has been slowly changing the system on the go. You know, doing some running repairs on the whole way he thinks of football. I don't know, but I mean, not that I'm just trying to make perfectly clear. I'm not poking fun, but I'm sure you saw he split from his wife, which, like, you know, that's the kind of personal stuff that's going on that would explain a lot of his kind of his breakdown as well over the last few months. So I don't know if you get over it quickly, but it seems like it's been finalized. Yeah. You know?
It's a done deal now. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, that could have been a huge weight on his shoulders that now he can maybe feel
I'm sure it was.
Yeah,
sure
of course. But like, I wonder now, will it be a case of he's like, I'm going to put that behind me now? Like, even subconsciously. And whereas before, that was probably taking up a huge amount of his brain space, you know?
Yeah, well, he couldn't completely ignore it. He had to be involved in it, which I'm sure is very painful, you know. Whereas now, if it's like, okay, right, all your stuff is done, the solicitors will handle the last few bits. He's like, right, I'm going to throw myself into work and we're going to get right back to it. Maybe, look, they could go on a run. They're only 6 points off second. I wouldn't be shocked to see them. I mean, they're 4th now, 22 games played.
Which is mad that they're still 4th. That after... I mean, there's like 11 or 12 games where they only won 1. How is that possible?
Let me explain again. The start of the season, those 3 points aren't the same as the other 3 points. I don't know how, but it's just the numbers aren't the same size numbers, I think. They're not the same size points. City do this every year. Every year when they have their blips and they drop to 3rd. Like, 3rd? Yeah, it was a crisis. You know, they're 4th now. They've lost 6 games, which is a lot for them. They've drawn 5. Liverpool have drawn 5 and lost 1. So I guess there's only, you know, those... Liverpool, like I say, aren't a perfect team either. They're not infallible. They're not like... There's never any kind of invincible talk with this Liverpool side, you know.
Yeah.
City, again, for their own high standards, have been doing pretty badly. But they're on 38 points. I don't think they're going to win the title, but yeah. Arsenal, I think, lost to Liba as well in that last game. So we'll see how they get on. Nottingham Forest, again, you hate to be so kind of like, oh, they'll fall away, because I haven't seen all season and they haven't. But, you know, you could see them like stumbling a little bit, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. Again, it's not beyond possibility that a team will lose a couple of games in the league they're playing in. But if there was a whole kind of, like I say, vibe shift to Man City with Pep being more locked in now than ever, and City kind of rallying around like, look, let's push for top 2 or 3. Then yeah, I could see it. I could see them finishing second or third, which would be like, again, no one remembers the details of things. So just see Liverpool 1, City 2, you know, Chelsea 4, Chelsea 3, Arsenal 4. Like, yeah, that's probably a fair reflection of how I was at the start of the season. They won 6-0 against Ipswich, but they play PSG then Chelsea next. So yeah, big test ahead. But I think we'll know by this time next week if they are indeed back or not.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the announcement video for Haaland's contract. It popped up in my YouTube feed today, and the thumbnail was Haaland looking solemnly at the camera, and the title was "Erling Haaland is so sorry." And I was like, I wonder what way they're framing this. Is like, are you sorry for his form this season? Like, I'm sure that's what they want you to think, but then when you click into it, it's him signing the contract and he's writing a letter, and he says at the end, "I'm sorry, defenders of the Premier League, but I am here to stay." And of course, a clever video, a good idea for a little promotional video.
Yeah.
But they tried too hard, because all of the comments are people who were just like, I thought he was going to say sorry for being so shit this season. There's like thousands of comments saying that. So it's like, well, you didn't fool these people.
they were waiting for their apology in writing.
Yeah. Still waiting, Erling.
Yeah, I did look up those stats. Erling Haaland is second in the goal scoring records this year. One behind the electric Mo Salah. He has 17. Mo Salah has 18. Chris Wood joined fourth with Cole Palmer on 14 goals. So yeah, he'd have to make a big push, but maybe just stay consistent. You know, maybe just keep doing what you're doing, Chris.
Yeah. We're rooting for you, Chris. He feels like one of our own up there. He's the only regular human up there.
And then when you see him, he's like 6'3" and as wide as his height.
He's the everyman.
The everyman, Chris Wood. Well, I mean, look, speaking of the everyman, Will, or at least most man, are they Man United fans? I would say so. In Ireland, anyways, they still probably hold the majority, do they?
I'd say they do. Maybe Liverpool more so now, but I think we've talked about this in the show before. It's definitely must be rapidly in decline. No way there's any new Man United fans coming to the fore in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, well, yeah. We don't need to go over all ground, but it's you support the team that wins the league. You know, like that's exactly what everybody does. Or maybe you inherited it from your uncle or your dad or whatever. But like, you know, typically little kids support the team as winning. And why wouldn't they? It'd be stupid to do anything else. You're not from there.
If I had put on Sky Sports News, or if my dad had Sky Sports News on, and I heard the Man United manager saying this.
In 10 games in Premier League, we won 2. I know that. Imagine what is this for a fan of Manchester United. Imagine what is this for me. So we are getting a new coach that is losing more than the last coach. I have full knowledge of that. Like I said, I'm not going to change no matter what. And I know we can succeed, but we need to survive this moment because I'm not naive. And I know that we need to survive now. So we are being the worst team, maybe, in history of Manchester United. And I know that you want headlines, but I'm saying that because we have to acknowledge that and to change that. So here you go, your headlines.
I don't think I'd be supporting this team, Carl. I don't think I'd be going out of my way to watch the team that this guy is getting like, this is the worst we have ever been in our entire history. Because when I saw that quote, I was like, Ruben, we were relegated like 3 or 4 times. We're like the 5th worst we've ever been.
Yeah. What do you think he meant by that? What do you think he was trying to achieve by that? What do you think he was trying to get out of the lads by saying you're the worst bunch of sorry,
it's a weird
pathetic excuse of footballers I've ever seen in my life? Now get out there and get me a win.
It's a really odd one because I'm thinking his idea probably of Man United is, of course, Alex Ferguson, win. So he's like, yeah, compared to that, this is worse. This is the worst it's been. But like you said, it's like, well, don't tell Harry Maguire that. He's trying really hard. Don't be like, yeah. Because when you say the worst team, you're saying all of them, really.
Yeah, well, he's already been told, Harry Maguire, that he's one of the worst players. So he's like, well, that makes sense, because we...
Yeah, that tracks.
Now I think that all those people who I was told to ignore were probably right. If the manager's saying that, maybe it's all starting to add up.
I wonder, is he thinking, maybe he's not really concerned about motivating this bunch of players. He's probably thinking, look, Ipswich are going to keep losing, Wolves are going to lose, we're not getting relegated. So give it a few months, then half of these are going to be gone, I'm sure he's thinking. Like, they're open offers for everyone. It was during the summer, everyone except Kobe Mainu and Garnacho, but I think even that's gone now. I think it's just everyone but Ahmad is up for grabs if you want them. And he's thinking, like, whatever. I'm going to build this team around my shape and my formation. We'll get rid of the wingers, get the wing backs in. And then I've been thinking this of, like, it is strange to go with a manager like this with such a set system that you don't have the players for, because, like, well, is he going to be here forever? Like, if he's the only manager doing this system, what happens when he's gone?
Yeah. Well, and you say that, like, oh, everyone's for sale. Like, we've seen those times where everyone's for sale, opened offers for everyone. But, like, when have you seen 15 players be sold out?
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest, that too. So, guarantee.
And it worked.
Man United are going to challenge for the title next season with Chris Wood up front.
What we'd give to have Chris Wood up front. He'd solve everything.
But that's, like, it's okay. And again, I'm about to be extremely disrespectful for the two-time European champions here, but it's fine when you're Nottingham Forest to, like, go through, like, a couple of seasons of, like, absolutely flouting the rules and just, like, player after player coming in and, like, winning nothing, Barry's fighting relegation. Like, if Man United would have the next few seasons like Nottingham Forest did to, like, completely rebuild, they were rebuilding a championship side, I guess. So it's a similar thing, a side that wasn't, capable of competing in the Premier League or competing for the Premier League as they're doing now. You would need that. You need to buy in a rake of players, slowly build your way up. But, like, you wouldn't get that opportunity in Man United. Like, when else would we be talking about the team who's 13th, who just got beaten 3-1 by the team who's 9th? Do you know what I mean? Like, just...
I think that was Brighton's 6th or 7th time beating Man United since they came back up to the Premier League. Like, Man United never, ever get a result against Brighton.
Yeah. No, that's definitely their bogey team, I think, Brighton. But again, they're consistently higher than them in the table as well. So it's like, okay, well, are they bogey team or just better than them? But no, do you know what I mean? It's just like, if he wants to, like, rebuild the whole team and get everybody out, it's like, no, you're going to get to, like, halfway through that process and go, well, this is more bollocks, you're out. And then, like I say, you're half through one, process. I think with Ten Hag, he was doing that, and he must have had some scary conversations. He went, all right, just going to fucking batten on the hatches here and try and win the cup. Maybe that'll do us. Because he knew he wasn't going to get to, like, rebuild the whole team, his image. I mean, he did his best bringing all those Ajax players in, but, like, he never got to fully complete that. Do you know what I mean? Again, whether Antony or De Ligt or any of those players were the answer, he was trying to, like, clear out the squad and bring in new people. And
he had an idea. His idea, it wasn't a great one. His idea was, get me the Ajax team I used to have. But they were in the process. They were doing their best to get it in. And now we're still, again, halfway through Ten Hag's process. And getting rid of Antony, he's officially gone on loan, which, I think does confirm he is way up there for one of the worst transfers in Premier League history in terms of it all, the finances. And like we said, if Darwin Nunez is up here as, like, potential cult hero from his aura, Antony is a player, he's one of the first players I've seen in a long time who suffered from negative aura, Kyle. Do you know what I mean? It was like he could, no matter what he did, it made him look worse.
He has some generational aura debt, I think, to be honest. I mean, and if, imagine if his son ever makes it as a professional footballer. All his antics have been recorded, Yeah. It's like, look, that's your dad, It's like, shit, it is, And, like, him versus, say, Donny van de Beek, who's been arguably probably as bad, but he was like this. Anytime you saw him, he had this, like, really sad expression on his face, like, I don't know what I'm doing here, you know. Like he didn't want to be there. He was just like so sad, you know. He goes to Everton, like, doesn't work out. He knows like Girona, actually. I think he's doing a little better there. But like, it's Anthony's like growling, and when I saw the quote there today in relation to goals and assists, you'll see the name Antony this season, you know, which is obviously translated from Portuguese or whatever. But it's like, he didn't score a single goal or assist in the Premier League. It's like, you know, just like everything he does. Remember the Sonic Teddy? I mean, I've seen them all today. I've seen all the greatest hits, and it's just like, he didn't help himself by being so, just like, say, cringe, and then also shit.
Yeah. I mean, we might actually play the clip here. It was one of our first viral clips, Cottle, of my opinion of Antony just a few weeks into his Man United career. And I will say as well, you had just at the time given Antony one of our more disrespectful awards, the Golden Lukaku, for a player who was not going to do well this season when he first came in. And I think he scored maybe 2 or 3 goals in the first few weeks. And we laughed at, how wrong Cahill was to doubt Antony's prowess. But yeah, here's how I thought Antony's career would go. Do you know what Antony is? And he might be one of the only ones in the world right now who we're seeing in live time. In a few years, you know what Antony is? A streets will never forget player.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? He's like silky dribbling.
Yeah.
Rapid, cool haircut, tattoos.
Yeah.
Like good personality. But he's like lacking.
Reminds me of Quaresma.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like the obvious limitations and stuff. It's
yeah.
Like, he'll have if he has a good few years at United, go down to Liverpool. And then he'll be streets will never forget.
He needs to have a Champions League run with Leon.
Yes.
And then you'll see the Man United highlights plus the Leon and go, what a player. Then he makes the World Cup Brazil team after a brief hiatus, missing the one. He'll be 29. He'll have a great World Cup. He'll get a big move to Juve. Yeah. It won't really work out. But he'll score a screamer in the Champions League.
Yes.
He'll go back to Brazil, retire. Streets will never forget.
Streets will never forget. He didn't even make it to that level. He didn't even get to Streets will never forget. The streets have forgotten.
Yeah, I mean, as everybody pointed out in the TikTok comments, that you're just describing Memphis Depay's career, you know, which we were. Well, I was, to be fair, but you know, you'd love if he was as good as Memphis Depay.
Oh, yeah. It's funny as well. You can tell how new on the scene Antony is there, because one of the words I used to describe him in that clip is the word likable, which I don't think we hear too much about Antony these days. Yeah. That's how new he was in the scene. I was like, I like the cut of this Antony guy.
I remember you said he was rapid as well, which has been proven time and time again. He's really not fast enough for the Premier League. Yeah. He just, again, it's not important, the money in terms of whatever, because like it's, you know, who cares? But it does add to a bad signing when it's 80 million. And especially like when we see it now, like there's a few people on the move. There's not many like big money signings coming in. So now the money actually is starting to matter a bit more. Like the golden era seems to be a bit over with the whole spend 100 million on fucking whoever he wants, you know. Mudryk, yeah, get him in. You know, that seemed to stop now. Everyone's like, yeah, we got to sell we got to sell Archie Gray. You know, it's pure profit. Yeah. He's got to go.
Like genuinely, I think United are desperate to sign someone this January. Like they need wingbacks. They have a manager who plays with wingbacks with no wingbacks. But like you said, they're now handcuffed by all their previous bad decisions, which for a lot of the 2010s, I didn't know how good United had it, where they could just make these bad decisions and they're like, we'll just do another one.
Yeah.
Now it's like you can't even. You're stuck with them all. It's way worse.
It was a crazy time because before that, the transfers didn't matter. And then during that 2010s period, like just teams would spend 100 million and flop after flop, and then another 100 million. Like, this is unbelievable. You know, this just keeps going. This is unbelievable. But now it does seem to be, you know, coming home to roost a little bit. And they're like, no, we can't do that this summer. No chance. It's like, oh.
Well, like even I'm sure they're like, they could probably do with Antony for the rest of the season, but I'm sure they're thinking, get that $100,000 a week off the books.
Yeah.
We can't afford that right now.
Well, everyone thought City were going to spend crazy money as soon as the window opened. I've seen Tottenham fans saying, why aren't we back at Ange? You know, what he needs players. There's a massive injury crisis. I don't think even Chelsea signed somebody, you know?
No, yeah.
Arsenal haven't signed any for their injury. Like everyone just like, yeah, we don't have anything left. It's all done. You're looking at it. You're looking at the war chest for the next probably 3 years. This is all we have. So, yeah, I don't know. Antony is definitely one of the worst signings. All things considered, you know.
Yeah, he's got to be, because it's and this isn't particularly his fault either, but he is the face of a particular era now of Man United, just like Pogba was of the Woodward era,
yes,
or like, you know, Lingard. It's when you think Ten Hag, Jim Ratcliffe, all of that, you think Antony. He's the face of it.
When I think Louis van Gaal, no, I think David Moyes, I think Fellaini.
Yeah, 100%.
When I think Louis van Gaal, I think Angel Di Maria.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
because he tried to bring him in. He thought you can be like Iron Robin, and that just never worked. It was just like
got robbed his first day there. Said, "Fuck this place, never playing for here again. Don't care."
Who was after him? Solskjaer? Jose. I do think Pogba.
Pogba or Zlatan.
Yeah. Oh, it was Zlatan actually. Yeah, was Pogba signed under Jose, or was it under Van Gaal?
I think it might have been under Jose. It might have been in the summer in between the two. He was definitely in the Europa League with Zlatan.
I just think he had a lot of run-ins with Pogba.
Yeah, not
even like he was his guy necessarily. Although he did mention that a couple of times, and they were like, you know, maybe Zlatan or Pogba. And then Solskjaer, I think of Lingard. I think for some reason.
Lingard or Rashford, yeah, I would think.
Those two, yeah. Lingard and Rashford, because they're just like, fucking these fuckers, you know? They're not that good. I know they're not that good.
Harry Maguire, maybe, for Solskjaer as well.
He was signed under Solskjaer. And then Ragnick, I think
Ronaldo, big time.
Ronaldo is Ragnick, which is like the worst pairing, the last two people you put together. And then Ten Hag, is Antony. Ten Hag's Antony. I guess Ruben Amorim is Ahmad so far.
Yeah, Ahmad, yeah. I'm sure he'll get his boys in soon. Again, he hasn't made any signings. Like, it is tough though, like we said, you can't really make signings anymore when you have no money. But you're bringing a manager in, it's like, we need you to change this. He's like, I don't know who any of these people are. I don't know. I need some people at least.
Yeah. So I don't know. Look, I mean, I think they're back in relegation fight, Will. I'm just going to say it. I think they're back in it. They're being dragged back in.
I'll tell you, I would think that. I would think we're in big trouble here if it wasn't for, thankfully, the only other so-called quote-unquote big team, I think, doing worse than us, which is Ange Postecoglou's Spurs, who were 3-0 down against David Moyes' Everton. Imagine that sentence at the start of the season.
Not David Moyes, Everton being up 3-0 against anybody. That has to be like one of the first nails in the coffin, we'll say.
Oh yeah, they came back and scored, but they were never winning. You know what I mean? It was over in the first half. It was game over. The Spurs fans were booing and leaving the stadium. The ones who stuck behind to roar abuse at Ange Postecoglou and Heung-min Son.
Do you think that put him in a good mood for his BBC Match Today interview? Let's play the clip.
Ange, familiar story. What are your assessment of that performance, please?
Familiar story?
Well, in terms of defeat.
Yeah, okay. Great way to start an interview. Look, it was a tough result for us. And
my favourite bit about that clip is at the start of it. So the interviewer goes, well, Ange, and he goes, familiar story. He pauses between familiar and story because he knows himself. He goes, I shouldn't have said that. He's gonna hate that.
Yeah, it's happened a few times over the years. We're mates. We talk all the time, and they catch a manager in a bad mood. The famous one of Harry Redknapp, where man goes, "You're kind of like a wheeler dealer manager." Yeah. No, I don't think he said manager. I didn't give him that respect. You're kind of like a wheeler dealer type of guy. He's like, I'm a fucking football manager, pal. You know, put some respect. Like, oh, well, you know what I mean. I'm just, no, I'm a football manager. He's like, eventually, like, you have a bad day. And suppose, you're kind of like a clown, like a clown that we all laugh at. Like, no, we won't take you seriously like we would, one of the big guys. But like, you got your own thing going on. But like to come in and be like, familiar story, you're shit.
His first two words are, well, Ange.
Again, it's like too friendly, over familiarity. First of all, and then you go, all right, man. No, I'm not your man. You're shit. Like, fuck this guy. You know, great way to start a conversation. Fair. I mean, I'm on Ange's side this one. In what way? Yeah.
Well, that is just amazing. Again, we've said this so many times, but God, I'm gonna miss Ange when he does inevitably go, because
when he goes in 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, he is just the best. I think he's literally the best I've ever seen at a post-match press conference, especially when he's losing, because it's just the way, it's not even his way of words. It's just the things he attracts that people say to him, because again, he's so casual and friendly and amazing that people feel like they can just say whatever to him, and he fucking hates it.
Because you can't. He's a human being. Yeah. You said you saw some articles circulating. They're starting to come out like, maybe he's not going to last much longer. I mean, where are they in the table? They're on the board.
They're below United. I know that. I think United are 2 points ahead of them, 1 point ahead. So they must be 15th, 14th ish.
Jesus Christ, the bottom between those two teams. My God. At this stage of the season, like, you'd imagine they've turned around at some point, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
I put in that graphic. I don't know if you saw where, or not a graphic, but someone screenshotted just the lower end of the table. And it was like Man United, West Ham, Spurs, Everton. And it was like the how to not run a club mini league. We said last week, because I said, I wonder how long Ange is left. And you were saying, no. And like, there's literally not a peep. And there wasn't for a long time about anything changing. It just felt like this was just going to go on forever. They'd lose and their injuries and they'll sort it out eventually. But he got one of the most dreaded articles a manager can get, Carl. He has gotten the vote of confidence from the board. He'll be staying on for the next. It says here, literally. So the article says, it's from The Guardian. Postecoglou on thin ice at Tottenham, but Levy hoping for turnaround. Manager to stay on for Hoffenheim and Leicester games. It's like, okay, so this journalist has been told he's got 2 games to turn this around.
Or he said, will he be here for the Leicester game? Yes. And the Hoffenheim game? Yeah. All right, that's it. Hoffenheim Leicester game, he'll be here. And you just print out that. I mean, that's true. That's what he said. I asked him, he said, will it be around those 2 games? He did. He didn't mention it any further or any less. No, it's not looking good. Once you get the vote of confidence from the board, if they're talking much at all.
Exactly. The board shouldn't even, you should never hear of the board in the papers, and the board should never know you exist. That's the way it should look like from an outside fan. It's like the only times fans should think about the board and the managers, they're saying, they're not buying them enough players. We need more players. He's doing all he can, which I don't know if, I don't know if you saw that clip after the game of the Spurs fans just giving it to the Spurs players as they sadly clapped and waved and said, sorry, yes, we know. But it's just, it feels like the tide has turned where it's like, I actually don't care about injuries anymore. It's fucking Everton at home.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of that too, where it's like, we are better than them. Even our worst players are better than them. Look how bad they are. They're in a mess, like you say that the how to run a club mini league, Tottenham have been a pretty well-run club, considering how much money they spend. Ange seems to be the one who's causing this,
They never had these injury crises before. They started to have this injury crisis now that they play a system where they run like dogs for 90 minutes.
Yeah, well, that I don't know. I'm not a physio, not a doctor. Maybe that could be a correlation or causation. I don't know. But it's more, I think, his like refusal to change it and like just open like, this is how we'll play as long as I'm the manager. So basically, we'll play at this, or he can sack me. So what do you do with that? You say, well, fucking sack him. We're losing to Everton. He's giving us the choice. So yeah, I think he's an ideologue. He has this. This is how we play, and there's nothing else to it. There's no other way to play. And if it's Everton, if it's Man United, if it's Man City, doesn't matter. This is how we play, and it's just not working out over the course of the season. So yeah, I mean, we joke, but like, and I don't think they will. But if you are a Tottenham fan, there's a little bit of worry that like, fuck, like, are we? I mean, all I have to do is keep losing games, and that's how you get relegated. And there doesn't seem any, sign of us changing despite having the same players. Like if you said, right, here are my players, this is how I'm going to play, and you have all these injuries. Like, I think you're within your rights to change it up a bit, to go a bit more kind of, so is the fact that he doesn't know how to do anything else, or he's just like blindly going, well, I don't care. You know, I think Bergvall is just as good as anybody else, you know?
Yeah. And I think unfortunately it hasn't helped him that over the course of the last few seasons, he's gone on record multiple times being like, I don't care what's happening. I'm never going to change. So even if he is making changes now, again, like me and you, I'm sure the rest of the casual football world go, I think he's just never changed, and that was the issue.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling my grandkids, Will. Oh, Ange Postecoglou. He'd never change, not for no one. And he got sacked in March 2025. Well, look, we have more football coming up during the week. Champions League, midweek. Again, you got to be ultra to get access to that. Link in the descriptions episode. For everyone else, we'll see you next week. For the ultras, we will see you behind the cages.
We see you up there.
Good luck.
Godspeed.
You'll learn a lot more if you listen rather than talk all the
Plenty of
time.
time, no problem.